All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Flesh and Blood Unseals. We've got a special guest tonight. We've got Nam Vo here joining us to do a little deck tech. Nam, how you doing, buddy?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your Flesh and Blood background. Why would we want to talk to Nam about Bravo, as it were, actually?
Coming from a lot of other card games, I generally play more aggro type of decks. Like in Magic, I played Mono Red, I played Burn, played Dragon Ball, also very aggro. And then once I got into this game, I guess I slowed down just a teeny bit because I still like playing aggro, and I incorporated into the Bravo deck. Try to play a little more aggressive with it, even though it's more of a control deck.
Hmm. Gotcha. So what? How did you get introduced to Flesh and Blood?
I actually had no interest at all in starting any other games, but with COVID happening and other games are not having any tournaments, and Flesh and Blood was the only thing actually even running anything. So I finally cracked. Good buddies of mine, now my teammates, introduced me into the game. I actually played Dorinthia as my first deck. Kyle lent it to me, and I actually really like the mechanics a lot. That's how I got in,
Hmm.
and then we hopped right into the pre-release on Monarchs, and I had a blast.
So how long were you playing before you took down the calling there?
How long I started playing? I can't remember when Monarch pre-release happened. I want to say it was in March of last year. So
Yeah, I think so. I know it came out in May.
and then so
Release was
yeah,
May.
whenever
Yeah.
May. Okay, May up into whenever that happened. So not too long, I don't think. Like half a year maybe.
Yeah. Solid. But you had some background from some other TCGs as well, you mentioned.
I got a bunch of tops in Dragon Ball Super. That was my main game for a long time. I got couple top eights for PPTQs in Magic. Uh, won a couple ARG tournaments for Card 5 Vanguard. I've played them all really.
Hmm. So you like the competitions. You like to.
I
That's your
I like the
thing, huh?
competition. It just plays on a different level. Like you get the drive, you know, playing at a higher level with better the better people.
Mm-hmm. Well, it says something that you've been able to be in the top for multiple games like that. So awesome, cool. So what? Which remind me again? Which calling was that you took down?
It was Dallas. Yeah.
Dallas. Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to be at that one, but it was too close to Vegas for me, and I couldn't travel again so soon. But
Luckily,
awesome.
we had some help getting to all the callings. We did happen. We actually managed to make all four of them.
Oh, rad. You say we. You're part of a group, right?
Yeah, the Card Guys is our team, and that's our brand. That's what we've been promoting as a group of players. There's seven of us.
Okay. The Card Guys. Is there like a website or anything like that you want to do a shout out or?
We got the Card Guys YouTube channel.
Okay.
It's just the Card Guys. I mean, we're on all the platforms. We're coming out with a Patreon soon. We got a lot of things planned for this year.
So this could almost be like a preview of what you might get as part of your Patreon, huh?
Might be.
Maybe. Yeah. Okay. Well, definitely shoot me that link, and I'll put it in the comments for this video, and so people can
Okay, of
find that.
course.
All right. So let's hop right over to the deck. I don't know if you can see this screen. Are you able to see?
No,
No.
I'm
Let me make
not.
sure this screen is being shared correctly. Sorry about that.
Okay.
You're gonna need to be able to see what I'm doing. Um, this screen. There we go. Oh, there.
I see
Now you
that.
should
Yep.
see Bravo. All right.
Handsome man.
Yeah. Yeah, you just need. I can't quite make out the chest hair. Like he needs a little more.
I couldn't get that. I couldn't get that on me.
So yeah, bravo. You said that you like a good aggro deck, and
I, I do like a good aggro deck.
but
Yes.
before we started this video, or when we were talking about it a week ago, I said, hey, I did a aggro bravo deck with Kurt recently. Have you seen that? And you've watched it now.
Hmm.
So we're definitely going to want to do some kind of compare and contrast. But first, let's work through this one. Let's work through this deck and kind of let's see what you got here. So this is something that you've used in local play, or like what's
A local play. This is a little different from my Vegas list. I also did very well in Vegas. Believe I got 24th after day two. Um, but generally, it's mostly the same.
okay? Anything you want to say about the pitch ratios here?
The pitch ratios is this is playing a lot more red than most decks would generally. I know a lot of Bravo decks play just heavy blue, light on the red. They play just the crippling crushes. CNCs, and then their defense reactions, their free ones. This one we are playing disables. Not too many decks play the disables, and zealous beltings.
Hmm. Gotcha. Okay. I'd be curious to see how that works in. All right. So let's see here. Good old Anothos.
I think this is probably just the best weapon for Bravo. I mean, like you can maybe play Sledge against Kanos, but it's not. I don't see it being a real big issue because not too many people play Kano. Not in the U.S. anyways.
Hmm.
Um, so this coming in for 6 generally most of the time. From just your blue pitches or even with the red pitch with the blue, and then if you have two floating, you can always scare your opponent with pummels.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it can steal games.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I know Kurt and I talked about that quite a bit.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
noticed you
his
do
list
have
is
some pummels in here. How many pummels
his.
does this deck run?
So I'm playing 4 pummels in this. I was playing a little more, but I swapped one of the pummels for a lunging press.
Okay, so you've got three red and
3
one
red, 1
blue.
blue.
Okay, and you
Mhm.
said you went for a lunging press.
Yes.
Okay. Target attack
Sn-
action card gains +1. And that was beneficial because of the pitch, I'm guessing.
Well, so it's a blue. It doesn't satisfy your hammer because it's not a 3 cost, but most decks or most people would block all the crush effects uh just enough so they take 3 and not 4.
Hmm.
And so with only 1 card in hand, they'll be like, "Oh, we'll just block for this amount because it's not you can't pummel because you have no resources." But then you can get the 1 over to make it 4, and that just crushes their hand.
Got it. Got it.
It's a sneaky play.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're kind of playing off the crush effect.
Hmm.
Makes sense. Okay. So let's see here. Maybe we should scroll back to the top. Equipment wise, anything out of the ordinary here that we should talk about? Greater
Uh,
Fist.
Nothing crazy. The standard package. Major Master boots, Crater Fist, Tectonic Plating, Skull Cap. I'm not playing the Eisen Peak. I'm not a big fan of that card. It's actually better in Blitz, but this is for CC, and that's what I play most. For our alternate boot is just a no rune.
Hmm.
I'm not a big fan of time skippers, even against Prism. It just doesn't seem good enough for that matchup.
Now, do you have like a way of rating cards that or is it just kind of like a gut feel? You just play it a few times and try it, or I mean, like,
For me, every time I try to do something, I have to play test it because sometimes it's good on paper, but not actually good in play.
Mm-hmm.
So I always got to get the reps in.
So you tried time skippers and you said nah.
Yeah, I did give it a go.
Ah, gotcha. Okay, fair. All right. Tectonic plating to round you out.
Yeah, I mean it just makes seismic. It makes all your guardian attacks cheaper. Battle worn 2, solid piece of equipment.
Yep. Okay. All right. So let's jump right into your deck list here.
Um, three blessings, pretty standard. You can reveal 3 cards off the top of your deck, and if it's 3 costs or more, you gain a life. Generally, you can essentially start with 49 life. I do have a lot more misses in this deck because of some of the cheaper cards I play, like the pummels don't hit, the sink belows don't hit, but most of the time you're gaining at least 2 life off of this.
Hmm.
It also draws you a card once you if you have a 3 cost pitch in your 3 cost in your pitch zone. Kind of replaces itself.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. So it's almost like an extra card that you almost use it to thin out your deck a little bit if you wanted to.
Yeah, so it's perfect because it costs 2. You pitch a blue that costs 3. You'll have one over or one floating for the seismic search, and you get to draw the card back. So
Hmm.
you'll still have a good hand, and you get to set up the tectonic plating seismic surge.
And it blocks. Man, what else can you ask
It
for?
blocks for 3. Yep.
Okay. Solid.
Uh, Command and Conquer. I mean, everybody knows Command and Conquer. It's super good. It's like staple for almost every deck. 6 attack, 2 cost. Um, if it hits, destroy all cards in arsenals. All cards. So like even in Lexi where they get the extra arsenal, you get to blow them both up.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And this is a card that I actually get to lunging press a lot because they block for the full 6 and you get the 1 over. You get the 2 cards that they block, deal 1 damage, and destroy their arsenal. So
Nice. That's nice. Is there ever a time where you run less than 3, or is this always 3 for you?
um normally it's 3. I don't think I've ever taken them out ever. It's just keeping your opponent free of an arsenal card. It's like having them having one less card in hand,
Right.
especially for Briar, which is very dependent on having as many cards as they can, especially from Arsenal, like the plunder runs, chain with the plunder runs, stuff like that. It's very key to keep it clean.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Yeah. I mean, if you're taking arrows out of the arsenal slot, you're I mean, kind of shutting down multiple heroes. So.
Or even like the frostbites if they want to flip over, or if it's a lightning card for go again, it
Hmm.
really slows down their turn.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. All right. So crippling
All right.
crush, 3 of those in there.
Crippling crush. I mean, if this deals 4 or more damage, they discard 2 random cards. Normally, you just slam this. You with 3 blues, you pay 2 for Bravo to give it dominate, and then hit him for 11.
Hmm.
Uh, this early in the game isn't too great because they still have equipment, but once you dwindle their equipment away and it has dominate, they really can't block it. So they're playing with 2 cards, and if they don't block and try to keep their hand, they're still losing the 2 cards,
Hmm.
but it's going to be random. So
Yeah. It's just absolutely brutal when you can get it off. It's just that cost is. I mean, seven seven pitch, right? It's just
yeah,
ouch. But
I
yeah.
mean, it would cost 6 with the seismic surge, so it's
Hmm.
much easier to cast.
Gotcha. Makes sense. So let's see. Disable.
So disable, I actually play the whole rainbow package. I play 3 of each disables. Yeah, I play three of each color disables, just like the Command and Conquer, especially in Briar right now, which is dominating the format. You want to keep their arsenal clean, and this is why I play this one. Both the red and the yellow makes Rouse of the Ancient much easier to hit that 13 number to give it go again.
Rouse the Ancients. Let's just pop over there real fast.
So Rouse says it costs 3. As an additional cost, you have to reveal 13 to give it plus 7 and go again. So with disable, the red disable and the yellow disable, you can reveal any attack card
Mm-hmm.
in this deck and be able to hit that 13 to give it go again.
Okay, gotcha. That's pretty fun. Okay.
We
So
we got this, yeah,
wait for seeing.
the standard Fate for Seeing. It's good against Briar. It's good against Chain. All those decks that attack for 4. It's a free. It also helps you set up your next turn. Let's say you get to have a blessing on board and it's about to trigger, but you want to see the top card. If it's not a 3 cost, you can put it at the bottom and guarantee or help your chances of gaining a life.
Got it. So yeah, having those defense reactions for 4 is nice for sure. Okay. Pummel almost doesn't really need a an introduction at this point.
Pummel is probably my favorite card um, in the game. I mean, it just does so much. It crippling your opponent's hand by making them discard 1 and dealing the extra damage is so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, it's just massive, absolutely massive card. All right, Sink Below.
Sink Below, another standard defense reaction. It's to help fix your hand. Let's say you can't cast your Crippling Crush or something this turn because you accidentally drew too many reds. You can tuck one of those reds away and hopefully draw a blue to replace it.
So you end up playing this. This is a defense reaction. So you end up playing this on the opponent's turn to
Yep.
fix your hand before. Okay, gotcha. Before you get around to your hand, before it's your turn.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Defense for 4.
Slick. All right, Spinal Crush. Yeah, 3 of those.
Spinal Crush, another good card that it has the crush ability is if you deal 4 or more, your opponent's cards lose go again and cannot gain go again. So it's very good against Briars, good against Chain.
Anything that wants to go wide, right?
Anything that
Katsu,
wants to
Dory.
go wide, dash, everything. Solid card overall. And it's actually it only costs 5. It's actually pretty easy to cast. Um, if you have a Seismic Surge, you can pitch 2 blues, activate Bravo, and dominate it for 4. It's just a 9 attack for 2 cards.
Yeah, that is pretty big. All right. Zealous Belting, you got 1 in there.
It's 3 in the sideboard, I think.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Zealous Belton, any of the decks. So I play these in the mirror match and against Prism. Anything that kind of wants to be a little more aggressive. Prism, you want to be able to break their shields and their aura. So like you can attack with this first, pop a couple shields, and then swing your hammer at an aura. Against the mirror match, you want to be able to grind through your opponent's defense reactions first. So late game, you're able to activate those crush abilities. So
Got it. Huh.
it's kind of a race,
Yeah, when you're talking mirror match for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just a little bit of the gas you're leaving in the tank in this case. Okay.
Yellow disable, same thing.
Yeah, getting into the
Just
yellows here. So yeah, we already talked about disable. Yeah, it's good enough though. Like you said, you run.
I
what,
run the
9
full 9.
disorders?
I
Yeah.
run the full 9. Yeah.
Okay. So this is just that card for you.
Yeah, it's trying to keep their opponent with the least amount of cards.
And more important than pummel for you?
Uh, so Pummel doesn't trigger the hammer. So like Pummel's great, but also it can also hurt you because it only blocks for two. There's a lot of turns that I have drawn too many Pummels at once.
Hmm. Okay. And so then you don't have the defense you need.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Okay. So you got some trade off with the disabled there. All right. All right. So lead the charge.
So we got Lead the Charge. Lead the Charge is good against Prism. It's probably the only place where I play him. Um, it gives me an extra action point. So in combination with Zealous Belting, it gains go again, but also gives me an action point, so I can actually have two action points afterwards. Um, I can play Lead the Charge, attack with any attack, and still be able to swing my hammer.
Mm-hmm.
So it's it's for clearing the board of the shields and the auras. This is the only Prism is the only place I play Lead the Charges.
Got it.
It,
Just need that extra ability to make a small attack
mhm.
and yeah.
And I
Okay.
do play the yellow ones for library. Uh, the blue ones, would help your pitch, but sometimes if you happen to do get the yellow cards in your hand, you can destroy the library and because it can get in the way. Or even if the library is not important to get rid off the board,
Mm-hmm.
you can actually pitch it and then go for the five draw because library affects both players.
Think I followed that. um, I have to like grab my library over there, my cheat sheet, and read the thing again.
Library says if you have two yellow pitches,
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the turn, your hero gains one intellect, and that's on both sides of the field, not
Oh, right,
just for
right.
the prison player.
Okay, got it. So just having that yellow in there every once in a while, you'll get that extra.
Hmm.
You'll get that extra card draw.
Yep.
Okay, okay. So remembrance. That one's
So I put
I mean, you gotta have that, right?
yeah, I play the two of remembrance for the mirror match, and Katsu can also get pretty grindy. Even in Prism can get pretty grindy if it comes down to them just playing Heralds instead of the Aura build. I mean, even the Aura builds can get pretty long.
Mm-hmm.
It's just to recycle the cards that like Crippling Crushes, your big attacks need to come back in. Command and Conquers, you can put any action card back in. So no defense reactions, no pummels, but all you really need is just to really put your gas back in the tank.
So if you hit one of these in your opening hand, you're a sad panda, right?
In your opening hand, you can pitch it for seismic surge or something. So seeing it actually early, it's pretty good. Like you don't want it in the mid game. If you want to see it really early or really late.
Hmm.
So really early, you can actually start stacking into where you'll see it first in the second rotation.
Ah, okay, gotcha. So you're just kind of just setting up your end game at that point
Yeah,
if you see
because
it early.
if you're already playing the remembrance, you're ready for that long game. So if you're ready for the long game, you might as well start stacking your deck into where you get to see the second cycle of cards.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, cool. Got a tome in there.
I play the one tome. I know Kurt played two. He likes seeing them early, but it's just a dead card if you see them too consistently. It's a two block. Sometimes that can really hurt you if you're really trying to block out some damage. I mean, like this card says, don't block, gain a bunch of life, draw some cards. You know,
Hmm. Is
Eh,
it? Is this getting played from Arsenal typically, or is this going to just get played from your hand usually?
uh, majority of the time it's played from Arsenal. That's where you really get the value off. You combo with the Mage Master boots to give it go again, and then you storm off with a 5 card hand.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so then into the blue.
Your typical blue package is just cards that cost three in this deck, like Buckling Blow, Crush the Weak, Choke Slam. You don't actually see those being played too often.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they do have relevant effects, but they're just so weak to actually have the crush ability. If they block anything, then you don't get the crush off
Hmm.
because they cause they're 5 or 6 attacks, and you have to deal 4 for the crush.
So you're mostly just using these for their pitch value then.
These are your pitch values in your deck, yeah.
Okay.
Um, Cranio, I do cast sometimes for like some decks that do like to draw a lot of cards. It's also a 8 attack card. It's good against Prism. It pops. I mean, it gets over their Heralds of Triumphs that -1 attack power on your defense. So it being an 8 actually uh, still pops those Heralds.
Hmm. I never noticed before, but the flavor text on there actually names her. It says
Yeah,
Valda
I
right
mean,
there. I never noticed that. That's cool.
and we just got her this month as a new hero, so I'm excited to try
Yeah.
her out.
Yeah, I say I'd be really curious to see what the new Guardian builds look like after she shows up. But she's just a young hero, right? So
She is just a young hero. Her playstyle is a little different too. It seems like you want your opponent to draw plenty of cards
hmm,
versus this card here, Cranial Crush, that not doesn't allow them to.
gotcha. Huh. All right. So let's see. Debilitate, huh?
Debilitate. It's another one of those pitch cards. I have had gotten this off before, but it's mostly just another pitch card. I mean, if you crush your opponent's next attack gets -2.
Hmm.
It can be relevant, makes it block easier, but it's mostly a pitch card.
Fair. Disable.
Another disable, trying to keep that arsenal clear.
Yep, makes sense. Last ditch effort.
So Last Ditch is a staple in probably every Bravo deck. Most people won't get to play it. Like I've only ever casted this card once, and it was actually very satisfying.
Hmm.
It gets +4 and go again if you have no cards in your deck. The combo with this is like you have these at the bottom, or like you run out of deck and then you play Remembrance just to put these back,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can kind of cycle it a little bit because
Hmm.
you're drawing out your deck every turn, right?
Gotcha. That's tricky, but yeah. Huh.
It's tricky, but it's the long con. For like the Bravo mirror, you're gonna deck out.
Yeah.
That's a matchup that you really go to the very end. Katsu as well. Katsu is once they start Kadashiing you and you're so low, you have to kind of block everything. You're gonna run a deck really quickly.
Hmm. Okay. Gotcha. Lunging press.
So like I said earlier, lunging press is sneaky. Um, most people will block just enough to avoid the crush,
Mm-hmm.
and
Just
you're
pop one
already
on
getting
there.
cards. Yeah, you give it a +1, get your crush ability. They lose a bunch of cards because they're already trying to block or defense off their armor, and you're just getting so much value off of this because what they're afraid of most is pummel, and if they think that you can't pummel or give it any power, it it sneaks in and really destroys them. Because
Yeah, if they think
if
you can
they
pummel, they
if
might overblock, right? But
yeah, they might overblock, and that's actually not even bad. If they overblock, you're like, all right, you overblocked. You arsenal the pummel.
right.
But with this, they'll block just enough, and then they'll try to still have a turn. But if you lunging press one over and get your ability off, it
Mm-hmm.
can turn off their entire turn.
Sick. All right, so pummel we've talked about. Rouse the ancients we jumped down to because we couldn't not jump down there. Showtime.
Showtime is normally just another pitch. If you get to see turn one, it's pretty good. I think it's one of your best turn one plays. If you're not trying to swing out, you get to search for a Bravo or Guardian card and add it to your hand. It blocks 3, and then at the beginning of your turn, destroys itself, and you draw an extra card. So like it's a very good setup card.
So you're paying to play it, get any card you want, and then when it gets destroyed, you get an extra card then as well.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, I can see that's pretty big.
The one downside to this card is it doesn't have go again, but if you're just trying to set up on your turn one play, this is still very good.
Say, I mean, if you manage to get the setup right, you might pop your
Mage Master. You can Mage Master these as well to give it go again. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Staunch response. Nice
Staunch is
reaction.
Staunch is one of your 4 defense reactions in this deck. I chose to play the blue one. I did play the red one for a while, but the blue one is just for more pitch value, and generally blocking 5 is enough for most decks. And then you do have the option of paying 4 more to give it another +3 block.
You ever find yourself doing that?
I have done the taller block before. I can't remember on what, but like for things that or the mirror match per se, if you're dominated, if their attack is dominated, you can only block with 1 card. So given the extra 3 allows you to fully block some of their attacks. Or just enough so that it can't crush you.
Ragnar Frosthelm. I'm seeing the just looking at the flavor text here again. I wonder if Ragnar is another hero that we're going to be meeting at some point.
I hope so.
Fine looking gentleman.
Yeah, I really want the guy on Mangle. I think he's insane looking. I don't have Mango in this deck. I did have one. I agree on it with Kurt. I really like the card, but it's just not good enough.
This is the guy Jarl. Maybe that's his name.
That guy. That guy's awesome. Oh, I want this guy so much.
Yeah, right. I had this mat, and it was one of the mats that I honestly didn't like to use because when I'm doing content creation, because it's just so damned gory. I was just like,
yeah, it's gory. I mean, some of these cards can get really gory, but I mean, it's the name of the game is Flesh and Blood.
Oh yeah, you know? Oh yeah. It makes perfect sense, and like I'm all for it, like I wouldn't have it any other way, but like just from a personal like taste standpoint, I was like cracking packs constantly, and I'm like looking down and I'm seeing this bloody mess, and I'm like, what did he do to that guy's head? Is that his helmet stuck to it? What kind of weapon is that? Oh man.
Yeah, that insane weapon. I really want this guy as a character.
Yeah, I think he'll show up. He's on another card as well too. I don't remember which one now, but he's definitely on multiple. I made a post about it at one point on Facebook. It was like, who are we going to meet next? Was the question I was asking. But yeah, this guy, he's on another card. I just don't remember which one now.
I'm sure he'll come out soon. I mean, we're getting that supplementary set soon. Everfest in February next month.
Yep,
it's coming up real soon.
It's coming so fast, right? Yeah, and toward the end of the month, shameless plug, on the 30th, I get to crack an entire box of Everfest before it's actually released. So I'm super excited about that.
That's awesome. Yeah. With the Pro Tours coming up, I'm excited to really travel again.
There's going to be a reason to travel again, right? There's going to be some events happening, and
Star City Games just announced that they're hosting some stuff in their SCG cons. That's exciting as well.
What's the prize pool behind that? I haven't seen.
They don't have anything posted just yet. We just know that they're hosting an event, at
Oh,
3 different locations.
and it was an official event, so it's going to come out of the official
Mhm.
prize pool, which we all know
Yep.
is ginormous.
I believe they're just gonna be pro quests, like really big ones,
Hmm.
just like how we had in like the other like Vegas and Dallas and stuff. Um, they're trying to get people into their pro tours. I mean, it's around the corner. The first one is rumored to be in what the poster says April.
Hmm.
So we're getting ready for that.
Very soon. You've been practicing a lot then?
As much as we can, we've been playing a lot of the league matches for with a lot of these other guys, the team leagues. So that's been keeping me busy.
Hmm. Yeah, I know I've been talking to a few players, and they've been like, yeah, there's not a lot of competitive play going on right now, and so I'm just kind of like not doing anything, and I'm like,
It's
good luck with that, because I
I
think
mean
there's
you can
plenty of people that haven't stopped, and they're
yeah,
going to be
there's
a lot
plenty of
fresher than
people.
you when the time comes.
hmm There's plenty of people still looking for games. Like I mean, I'm sure the official Fab Discord has always got people playing, looking for games. I mean, you got to stay on your toes. You don't want to get rusty.
Yep, absolutely. It's important to get the reps in, like you were saying, and like don't just expect that you know what's going to happen, right? Like even
Yeah.
if you've played a match
Yeah.
a million times, somebody decides to throw a card in there that you don't usually see. What now?
It's like for me, it's like playing chess, right? So like you map out your turn, you map out what your opponent potentially can have in his deck. It's like you go through every single play, you try to see what is the best play moving forward, and you want to see several steps ahead. You can't just see one turn. You got to see 2, even 3 turns ahead to really set up your end game.
Makes sense. How with this deck? How many turns do you typically get in?
Before killing somebody.
Like so short versus long. Give me like your mirror match. That's probably one of your longest, right? How many turns do you think you're getting in
Mirror
there?
match is long. Briar is pretty quick game because we're both just going to be taking a lot of damage.
No blocks at
Generally in
all.
that yeah, most of the time I will block minimally
Hmm.
and try to deal as much damage as I can. They're going to be doing the same. But with my deck, with Bravo, we have disruption to kind of like hinder their turn a little bit. Prism is a long game. Let's see what is another. Dash is a very grindy game as well.
Hmm. So for long, how many turns are you thinking?
Um, those can go all the way to the end, like decking out. The long games are really long, and the short games are really short. We don't really have too many of the in betweens.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay. So it's like aggro until it's not aggro.
Yeah, yeah.
Fair. Yeah. Got to change it up so that you can handle those heroes that don't really play well,
hmm
or it doesn't
And
do well against that. Got to block
and
something right.
you really have to kind of adapt your playstyle against different decks once you kind of see it because Briar can play either. I mean, they have 3 different type of decks. They have Cheerios or Lightning Briar that goes like just all gas,
Hmm.
right? And then we have Earth that which is slower but also taller attacks. And then we have the hybrid build, which kind of incorporates a little bit of both, which I think is the best version.
Hmm.
Even in Lexi, we have Lightning to go again with the Death Dealers, or we have Frostbites,
I feel
kind
like
of control.
I feel like you have to have at least a little bit of lightning in there every time. All those extra go agains, man. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's just so potent.
hmm
Yeah.
So it's difficult to sideboard against some of these newer heroes because they can pivot pretty easily and they don't really show you until the match has already started. Like sideboarding can only go so far against those type of decks
Hmm.
because you don't get to see how many weapons they have. Like imagine if you're playing against Dory and they have 2 face down weapons. I mean that kind of gives it away, but you actually don't have to reveal any of that until you decide who goes first and after sideboarding.
Right. Right. So the weapons are, yeah. It's one of those you don't have to choose your equipment until after you know who goes first, right? But then
Yes,
you
you get
don't.
to you roll to see who goes first, and then you sideboard, which includes the weapon. So everything is hidden in one stack until you're ready to start,
Hmm,
until you present your deck to cut.
gotcha, man. Tricky, man. Good
For
times.
sure, for sure.
I mean, knowing those little things is part of like, I mean, if you don't know that stuff, you're gonna be sad at some point in the future, I think,
Hmm.
because your opponent's gonna be like, "Hey, wait, hold on a second here. Now, this is how this works," and then you're gonna learn on the spot. And hopefully, I think this is actually the second time it's come up as a point in one of these videos. So I'm sure, hopefully, a couple of folks have learned from it by now. Save them the
I mean,
pain.
I mean the best way to learn the game is playing the game. The more reps you have, the more experience you have. I mean, it's and getting the card knowledge. Card knowledge is key in I think in every card game. You got to know what cards are in the game, what cards your opponent can have.
Yeah, I know. For me, as a novice player, the hardest thing is that while I might know my own cards fairly well, nine times
Mhm.
out of ten, I got to read my opponent's cards, and so it just slows the tempo of everything down so much.
It
And
does, but I mean the first step is knowing what your cards do, because you don't want to be that guy where you have to read your opponent's cards and then also have to read your own cards.
yeah,
So at least on your turn, you're kind of quick about it because one issue in this game I think is time. A lot of people do get not intentionally slow play, but people go into time all the time, and it's very bad because you get a double loss, and
right.
those are very heavily stacked against you because they're worse than just getting a regular loss, in my opinion.
Yeah, I feel like the time issue needs to be looked at some point. Maybe I don't know. Like it is a very complicated game, and I can see where they want to make sure that you can run a certain number of rounds in a certain amount of time.
Mhm.
But damn,
It's
running out of time and then getting a double loss sucks. Like,
I, I think that's on the players. I don't think people should be afraid of calling a judge for slow play.
hmm,
It's a lot of people are afraid or very like judgmental about it or whatever. It's like if somebody is slow playing you or isn't playing fast enough and you know you're gonna hit the time limit, you have to call a judge because it's on both players to keep that the game state going.
yeah. I mean, if you're at a competitive event and they're intentionally slow playing you, yeah, obviously you got to do something about it. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not. I wouldn't see any reason not to call a judge if you go
It's
for it,
it's kind
right?
of that stigma. Like people don't want to see you being that guy, or like you don't want people seeing you as that guy that's like, oh, that guy is kind of douchebag, right? It's like he's been calling people slow play all day. It's like, well, people need just to be playing faster.
I could see it both ways. It's a young game, and I
It
do like I mean personally, I did take I lost, did the double loss due to not finishing a game
mhm.
at least once in Vegas myself, but
I do see it both ways. Like we are getting a lot of new players in the game that haven't played any other game competitively just yet. But you don't want to hurt yourself too much on like trying to help them. It's
true.
you're still in a competitive like game. If
Yeah,
it was like at a locals or something, so be it. I mean, they can take as much time as they want. You know, you're not
that's a
nothing's
fair
on the
point.
line.
That's a very fair point.
But
I
like
I was talking about, yeah, like I was in Vegas when this happened, so it makes sense that they'd be a lot more hardcore
mhm.
about the clocks.
if yeah, if it wasn't like so I guess like the tier level for the tournament or whatever is, then yeah, you can help your opponent or it can be a longer game. But going into like a calling or something, they should realize or they should know that they should be playing at a certain tempo.
Yeah, yeah. You should probably try to be playing at a certain level before entering such a level of tournament.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Nam, this has been a really good talk, and I really appreciate your time. Any parting
Yeah.
thoughts for viewers here?
I mean, don't get rusty. Keep playing. I mean, I love this game, even if it wasn't for competitive play. It's just so fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it too, man. I mean, I fell in love with the art, and then the cracking packs, and then I mean, gameplay was actually the last thing for me. But it was
Yeah.
really
Cracking
it
packs
it
is.
sealed the freaking deal. I was like, holy crap, this thing has everything. Like, not only can I sit here and like smash all these packs, but I'm actually going to be able to build something sweet out of it when I'm done, and then play in a meaningful way, even if I only have 6 packs. Like, it's
Yeah.
sick. Yeah.
Before I knew any better, when I first started, I bought a bunch of first ed Monarch boxes for way more than they should be, and I
Yeah.
just started shredding them. And luckily enough, I opened some of the code foils that got me to trade or sell into getting the rest of my collection. But yeah, I just love opening packs as well.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Nam, thanks again for your time, man. Take care, and
Yeah,
hopefully we'll do this again sometime.
yeah, anytime. Thanks for having me.
All right. See ya.